Hello, my loves. Dina here from No Fear, Just Flow. It is a lovely rainy day here, and so you may hear some of that in the background. On my way to the office, was thinking about the fact that I have been posting a lot about grooming and about unworthiness and about running into darkness and demonic forces. And so, although all of that seems very dark and, as I say it, maybe a little bit nutty, I live a life of joy. I truly do. And anyone that spends any time with me or knows me or watches my videos, I think can see that I try to radiate joy. I try to radiate peace and calm into the world. And I enjoy helping other people find their joy and happiness and worthiness. And that's because I spent so much of my time feeling unworthy. That's because I spent so many days on the floor, so many days crying, so many days wasting my energy on people who weren't even giving me kindness, weren't even giving me respect. And that was because I was trained to deal with abuse. I was trained to take it as a child from the people that were supposed to teach me how to love myself. And as a result, I spent a lot of years learning to be worthy. And I'm still working on that, but I'm getting there. And so I make these videos because I want to help other people learn how to be worthy. I want to help other people transmute their pain and get to a place where they do have self-love, where they're not tolerating nonsense, where they are going out into the world and creating light, because I do believe that we live in a time where there is a lot of darkness, and that the only way to transmute darkness is to become the light. I mean, if you are in a totally dark room, it just takes one little pinprick of light to change that. So that's kind of what I'm talking about, is you can be that little light. You can be the lighthouse for other people. But in order to do that, you have to learn to feel worthy. You have to learn to love yourself. And so how have I done that? How have I transmuted all of this childhood trauma? And when I say childhood trauma, I'm not just talking about being yelled at. Like, I literally was abused in ways that I don't really want to talk about. I'm writing a book and it'll all come out in that way, but I don't really think it's fair to go onto social media because of my family and get into the details. But I will tell you that I went through my own personal hell. I did. And there were other people that were drug into my personal hell, like my friends, which is a horrifying thought. And so there was a lot of guilt. There was a lot of guilt about, and still guilt about, what was experienced. And so I think I avoided my childhood friends. I avoided people from my past because I think deep down I knew in my heart that they were also exposed to the things that I was. And as I've allowed myself to heal, I've opened the doors to some of those things, and the things that I've found out have been a little bit horrifying. And yet I'm here for it, because that's how I heal. That's how I help them heal as well. And so how do I heal? I do a lot of things to heal. One of the things that I do that I highly recommend is inner child work. And so what does inner child work mean? That means that you go back and you love your inner child. You love that little girl that you were, or that boy that you were, and you go back and you take them out of situations that were harmful. And you tell them that they're safe now, because time is linear, meaning that the history is only happening in your head, if that makes sense. So your history is not like anybody else's, and the only way that it still lives is in your head. And so when you go back and you change that history, like I go back a lot and I remove myself from the awful situations. I take myself out of those bedrooms and I go and I read books to myself, or I hug myself, or I rock myself in a rocking chair. I was a very loving mother, not perfect, but a very loving mother. I tried to break a lot of the cycles. And so I go back and nurture myself the way that I nurtured my own children. And I take myself on little picnics. I do meditations. There's a guy named Jason Stevenson that has wonderful inner child meditations. So you can look up inner child healing on Facebook and you'll find a lot of things. And so really what it is it's about going back and transmuting that darkness and turning it into light. You can save yourself. You can. So regardless to what happened to you in the past, whether it's as a child or a teenager or an accident or whatever caused your trauma, whatever caused your unworthiness, go back and transmute it. You can do that. You are so powerful. And when you have God on your side and you walk like Jesus, anything is possible. And those are two things that I've done as well, is I've opened my heart to God and Jesus. And God to me is not found in the Bible or in church, although I do enjoy going to church and singing the praise music, and I do enjoy some of the stories in the Bible. My God, and we each have our own, is not about fear, and he's not about retribution. He is about love and light. And so find the God that feels right for you. Walk like Jesus, love other people, be kind, don't be judgmental. And I also do a lot of quieting of my mind. I meditate a lot. I go to sound healings, and those are so therapeutic. I go and I sit in anipis, which is the native word for sweat lodges, and I tell Mother Nature to take it all away. I go on barefoot walks. I wrote a book called Alkaline Your Life about how to fast and get some of that old stuff out. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't numb my pain anymore. I don't watch things that hurt my heart. I'm very careful about what I expose myself to, and I love myself fiercely. I do. I spend a lot of time alone. I don't desperately look for relationships just to feel loved, because so many relationships are toxic. And so look in the mirror and ask yourself, what areas can you help yourself heal? It's so important that you become your own advocate, your own parent. Parent yourself the way that you wish you had been parented. It's never too late, no matter how old you are. God is so forgiving and loving. And so even if you've hurt other people, it's okay to go back and change those situations too. And maybe you'll heal some of the people that you hurt. So go out there, have no fear, just flow. Like, it just takes a second. Boop, boop, boop. Subscribe, comment. I like the comments, even those ones that question me. I'm okay with that. And for the most part, just go out there and spread a little light, be the love and the joy that you always hoped for, and know that it's all going to be all right. You are loved. Mwah.